So let's first start off with introduce yourself and what is your current position? What do you do?
My name is Susan Porter, and I am a Regional Director of Operations for Heartland Dental. We're a dental support organization. We have around 1,700 offices in 40 states, and I support 65 offices across 4 states.
And what is your educational background?
I have a bachelor's degree from the University of Oklahoma. I studied Spanish, and I'm currently pursuing my master's degree in organizational leadership.
And what is your work background?
So I began my professional career in banking. I started as a bank teller and then was a loan officer, a customer service rep, then a loan officer, and then I became a corporate recruiter for Bank of America. I then moved to Texas and did recruiting. I came back to Oklahoma, had my own business teaching Spanish to business professionals, and then went back into recruiting, which is what led me to dentistry. And I started as the recruiter for a group dental practice in Oklahoma, and then I became their training manager, and then a regional manager, and I'm now a regional director.
Who has helped you in your career path? Do you have any influences or mentors?
My mentors have been multiple people, just starting, of course, with my family, just with my parents and the values that they instilled in me at a young age. My first professional job was working at the county assessor's office when I was 16 years old for the summer. So I've always been in a business environment. I'm expected to be there on time, show up early, leave late, put in your work ethic. And then just throughout my career, I've been very fortunate to be blessed to work with leaders and managers who invested in their team members. Although I worked in corporate environments, it was usually led by an entrepreneur, and that entrepreneurial spirit resonated throughout the organization and really helped me throughout my journey.
Do you enjoy what you do?
I love what I do. My job is helping doctors and practice managers develop their leadership skills and their business acumen. And so dentists come to us with the clinical background, but not necessarily the leadership or business knowledge. And so my job and my team's job is to support our doctors to help develop their leadership skills, focus on the business, and grow our practices.
So what would you say is the best part about your job?
The best part of my job is really leaning into others. I personally enjoy personal and professional development, and in the role that I'm in, I really get to pour into others as a leader. And so I enjoy helping to find resolutions when there's conflict. I enjoy helping other people to push themselves beyond what they thought they could do and achieve goals. And I really enjoy just helping other people develop and really identify their own strengths and work through their weaknesses and find fulfillment in what they do professionally.
Okay, so then everything has its peaks and valleys. On the flip side of that, what would you say is the worst part about you?
The worst part of my job is having to work through an individual person's negativity, if you will, right? Because there are problems, and I'm an optimistic person. I always believe there's a way to work through a situation. It may not be what you wanted. You may not always have a win-win, but there is a way to find common ground. And so it's frustrating when I am surrounded by constant negativity. And that's the challenge of dealing with people and just working through those obstacles. But that's few and far between. I would say the positive greatly outweighs the negative.
So would you recommend your industry to other people?
Yes, I think dentistry is a fantastic industry, and people usually only think of dentistry as being either a dentist or a hygienist or maybe a dental assistant. But there's an entire other side of dentistry. There's the business side. There's I'm working in the front office. There's being a practice manager. And if you happen to work for a corporate dentistry, if you will, or group dental practice, then there's an opportunity to go into marketing and recruiting and so many different areas that exist for us.
So you've had a long and different varying career, and you can't reach success without having a little failure. what would you say is your biggest failure so far in your business or career?
I really wouldn't say it's been a failure because I believe in failing forward, right? I believe that failure is only when you don't learn from it. And I've had some lessons that I've learned in what may be considered a failure, if you will, of not achieving a goal or maybe having a counseling session with my boss, right? There was a period in 2015 where I was written up for my job performance. And so that moment was really a defining moment for me because it caused me to, one, say, okay, I don't agree with everything that's happening here, but something I'm doing led to this. So let me dive into that because that's what I can control. And it was in that moment that I took control of my performance. I took control of how I felt about my job, what I did, and turned that into an opportunity to acknowledge my areas of opportunity and my own weaknesses, and to recognize that it's not personal, it's business, and I could choose to make it personal, or I could take the feedback, apply what I felt was necessary, really listen, and then move forward. And so in that sense, it's not necessarily a failure because I grew from it and I moved forward from it. I think failure is when you don't grow and you don't learn and you just stop. Then it's a failure. Otherwise, everything has a purpose because it's something that we need to learn from and persevere through, because an opportunity will present itself where you have to help the next person through a situation similar to the one that you were in.
Okay, so then on the flip side of that, what is your greatest success in your business or career?
My greatest success is when someone comes to me and says, because of you, I decided to take an opportunity and apply for another position and get a promotion. Or because of you, I learned to really, look at myself and recognize how to grow myself. Or because of you, I feel I'm a better leader and a better team member. And so success for me is those individuals that I'm able to touch and inspire and motivate in some way to move forward in whatever it is that they want to do. And so it's those moments that I can look back and say, okay, that was a job well done. Because reaching a goal, you can be a bad leader and still reach a goal, right? It may be temporary, but you could still achieve it. You cannot be a nice person and still, succeed in whatever area. It may be short-lived, right? But you can still have success. And so success for me is really, how am I building a legacy through other people, through my leadership, my communication, my influence, and my support.
And any advice you would give to people following your path?
Yes, the best thing that someone once told me when I first received my corporate job, she said, you dress for the job you want, not the job you have. And she meant that not only in physical appearance, but in mental readiness as well. She's like, if you know that you want to move into another area, then start thinking that way, start acting that way, start carrying yourself that way, always putting yourself forward, and your behaviors, the opportunity and what you learn and all of those things will catch up to those behaviors, but the behavior needs to come first. And so I would say, don't be afraid to go after what you want, but also be mindful of what it is that you want and be able to acknowledge your strengths, your weaknesses, and stay focused on that long-term goal.
Perfect. So this next set of questions here is going to be a little bit just more specific to your career itself. Where are you within your company? Middle of the pack, C-suite, where are you at?
So in our company, you have the CEO, COO, so you have your C-suite positions, and then you have your VPs, and then you have regional directors. So I'm a regional director. So my next growth opportunity would be to become a vice president.
And how many direct reports do you have?
I have 8 direct reports.
Do you have any thoughts or tips on navigating the corporate environment?
Yes, I would say, one, if you're in a position of leadership and you are dissatisfied with something within your organization, or you don't agree with something, never vent down, right? You don't vent down. So I would never vent or speak negatively to my direct reports about something, a decision within the company or something within the organization. It doesn't mean that I wouldn't voice my opinion if I didn't agree with something, but there's a reason that you don't vent down, because then you're creating an environment where your team is now focused on the negative, and they can't as quickly move through those stages as you could as a leader. So in moments of frustration, that's where you have the person you report directly to, or maybe a peer or confidant to express those moments when you're a little frustrated, right? That's something that I learned of, just you don't vent down, because it inevitably comes back and it's not a good thing. Other advice for the corporate world, like I said, I've been blessed to work in corporate environments that are also entrepreneurial environments. And so I think it's a beautiful thing to have the corporate entrepreneur. Those individuals bring new ideas into an organization. They think outside the box. They're not afraid to take chances or to take risks. They understand change, and they're more fluid in developing and moving forward within an organization. And so an organization that feeds that and encourages others, regardless of their position, to bring new ideas and to enhance that creativity, is an organization that could sustain itself and continue to grow and innovate itself.
Any fears or risk factors that your industry is concerned with?
I think our industry right now, the risk factors in our industry is, from the standpoint of clinicians, doctors, and hygienists, there aren't enough. There aren't enough to serve the population. There aren't enough to staff our dental offices, and not just within my company, but within our industry as a whole. And so there's a huge gap as well in the next generation of dental assistants. Many states are closing their dental assistant programs or schools. And so there's just a gap of an awareness, I think, in this next generation of what dentistry is and what type of career that could be. And then just a lack of providers, because dental schools keep their class sizes very small, and there's not enough graduating to fill the void that's we're now experiencing for the baby boomers who are retiring. And that whole generation of dentists that are retiring, we're not getting a replacement as quickly as we need.
Do you have to deal with any regulatory or compliance issues?
All the time. OSHA, HIPAA, the government, depending on what they decide to do, especially with state-funded insurance, or what happens with legislation if you are a doctor coming from another state. You have to take your boards all over again in the new state that you're coming to. And so those are different things that can limit our ability to take care of patients. And that's what it's all about, how we can serve our community. But there are a lot of regulations and things that we have to deal with that sometimes can make that difficult. And then there are regulations that we deal with that ensure that our industry is safe and that our patients are safe.
Have you ever been close to being fired at your current job?
At my current job, no. I was written up, but not close to being fired. I think if they wanted to fire me, they couldn't, because there was no one else to do the job. And so it was one of those well, if you want to get rid of me, sorry, you're stuck with me. And then I think it was the realization of wait, this is a really great person. And all of this occurred, the company I started with affiliated with the company I'm currently with. And through that affiliation, it was a really rough bridge of the two, if you will. And so I was a necessity because I was a part of the affiliation. And at the same time, it was a challenge integrating ourselves into a new environment. But all is well. It's been 10 years and I'm still there, so I'm still here.
What are your long-term goals within this company or your career as a whole?
Long-term goals, I eventually would want to move into a vice president position. I enjoy leadership and developing others, so I'm pursuing my master's degree in organizational leadership And my goal with that is to help other individuals develop their leadership skills, to identify what type of leader they are, how to deal with conflict resolution, how to improve their communication skills, working through developing their strengths and their weaknesses, understanding their personality when they function in their core, what causes them to fall into their extremes, and just really improving leadership.
And lastly, let's say that money wasn't an issue. You didn't have to work for it to be able to live. You just didn't need money all the way around. What would you do with your time if you didn't have to spend it working the majority of the week?
Oh man, if money wasn't an issue, then time is the gift, right? Because money causes our time to be dictated, the need of money. So not having that need, my time would be spent just going around trying to help other people. Like, it would be wonderful to have time to just volunteer, get up in the morning and decide, who am I gonna go help today? You know what, I think I'm gonna go to this school and I'm gonna read to some kids, and then I'm going to order pizza and have a pizza party for everyone at the school. Then I'm going to, go to the store and find some random people in the checkout line and buy their groceries. And then I'm gonna go teach Spanish, or just invest my time back into other people. If I didn't have to worry about money, I would just want to see what I could do with other people and how I could help other people, and just continue to lean in that way, and travel, of course.
Perfect. Well, from all of us at Turtlesmith.com, thank you very much, Susan, for your time today.
Thank you so much.